Project Hail Mary is the new science fiction film directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, starring Ryan Gosling and a rock. It's the film adaptation of the 2021 novel by Andy Weir, where schoolteacher Ryland Grace wakes up on a spaceship light years from home with no recollection of who he was prior to. Slowly, his memory returns to him, and he learns that he's here to uncover the mystery of why the sun is slowly dying. Now, of course, this film is an adaptation of the book, so heavily based on the book. But they are two separate mediums, so I want to treat them as such. But before I do, let's just talk a bit about the book and how it translates to the film. To be real, I've never read Project Hail Mary before, so I made sure to do that before seeing its cinematic counterpart. I used Audible, not sponsored, but could be, and I listened for 3 days straight leading up to seeing it in theaters. And I'm so glad that I did, because for one, it's a great book, and for two, there are some little details that the film glosses over that give context to some of the nuances of the character and story. For instance, if you read the book, then you know the reason that Ryland is still so fit, even after being in this comatose state for so long, is that they attached electrodes to him to stimulate muscle activity in order to prevent atrophy. So he actually wakes up a bit buffer than when he arrived. The film kind of brushes over this, and though it doesn't impact the viewing experience, it's still nice to know these small intricacies that would be otherwise overlooked. The film's also able to get through like about 4 chapters of exposition in 10 minutes or so, which while watching I wasn't quite sure how to feel about that, but like I said, two separate mediums. Of course, the film has to condense and make cuts, so for the time being I did my best to just forget the book and fully focus on what was in front of me. I will say, I enjoyed the pace the book took with Ryland discovering he's on a spaceship versus the movie. In the book, he really needs a moment to collect himself and get his bearings straight after waking up in space with amnesia, understandably so. But in the film, he wakes up and within 2 minutes he's climbing ladders, pressing buttons, discovering suns. It definitely doesn't ruin things, but it's just something I noticed that might have been nice to spend a few more minutes on. What did translate really well from book to film was our protagonist, Ryland Grace. When trailers of this film started coming out, there was chatter that the character in the novel was specifically written for the film adaptation to be played by Ryan Gosling. And I understand why. The names are so similar, and when you read the book, it does feel like Ryan should play that part, but that has since been debunked. He's just a huge admirer of the novel and has been since its release in 2021. But like I said, it may as well have been written for him. This is a role that you can tell he's just been waiting for, and it really does translate on screen. From an acting perspective, Ryland is a demanding part. You have to seamlessly blend heart and humor to pull it off, and that right there is Ryan Gosling's bread and butter. Now, let's forget the book for a moment and just focus on the film. People have been pumped for Project Hail Mary, and rightfully so. A good-ass space movie only comes around every so often. The anticipation for this one has been compared to the likes of Interstellar, and listen, I like this film. It's no Interstellar, but I like this film. In fact, I'd argue Project Hail Mary feels like E.T. and Interstellar had a baby. A few technical things. The focus pullers. This is a super filmmaker take of me, but the first AC went wild on this film. In fact, I would like to name them. Jake Markison, you killed it. There's so much focus pulling going on in this film. I think in one shot, there's like 4 to 5 different pulls. A super niche observation maybe, but gotta give some love to the crew members that make it all happen. Most people don't even realize that that's someone's job. Practicality. Apparently, a lot of things in this film were done practically. For instance, Rocky was an animatronic puppet, and they used no blue or green screens. Of course, there was still VFX used, but those two things feel pretty large in a space film, especially for Rocky's sake. It's nice to feel like the character in some form or fashion actually exists. The score, sound design, and editing. Separate jobs, of course, but I grouped them all together because I think they work really well in tandem on this film. A lot of the actions on screen become beats in the score. For instance, they do this a lot with Ryland's claps. I love this. I've always felt like this is a super engaging way to structure the edit, because to me, film is just visual music. There's a cadence to it, especially with comedy. And they do a lot of this in Project Hail Mary. Like I said, with the claps, in sequences, like when they're building the Venus box, the sounds of the drill match up to the beat of the track. It's really, really nice, really engaging, and overall a very solid way to tie it all together. My final takeaway is no matter what age you are, Project Hail Mary is a great film to go catch in theaters, so if you have the chance, definitely do so. Ultimately, it's a story about friendship and the lengths we're willing to go for the people that we love. It's really sweet, it's funny, it's heartfelt, it's cute. I totally recommend, and I will happily jump on the bandwagon that this film is the best of 2026 so far. Have you seen Project Hail Mary yet? If so, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.